Okay, so the leaks are out for Black Clover chapter 346, and as always, if you guys want to keep up with the leaks, go on Twitter and follow Night Baron and Diab. They're the ones who usually post them. In fact, they actually just got done posting them about 2 minutes ago for this week's chapter. And man, if you guys are keeping up with the posts that they were putting them out, you know that this week's chapter is going to be straight fire. Like seriously, we don't get to see Asa in this chapter, which is disappointing, but given the fact that he figured out how to use his own style of Zen in the last chapter, I think we all kind of figured that we'd be going maybe 2 or 3 chapters without seeing Asta again. But because we're not following Asta, we actually get to follow Ichika and the other 4 members of the Ryuzen Seven who went with her to face off against Sister Lily, her paladins, and the Five-Headed Dragon. And everything that Tabata does with these characters in this chapter makes up completely for the ball he fumbled with the Spirit Guardians in the last big arc. Because trust me when I say this, that each of these 5 characters that we see in this chapter are extremely badass. Anyway, let's just jump right into the spoilers and get into what exactly they do in this chapter. Alright, so the chapter opens up and we see the civilians remarking that they see the five-headed dragon from legend and are wondering if the Shogun and the Ryuzen 7 will be alright. Kenzo Kaku easily avoids the attack, which Ichika remarks how quick that woman is when she does not think. However, Lily cynically comments that maybe it's not so good if she avoids the attacks, and the five-headed dragon's attack is shown to destroy a mountain. And I don't think that's actually something crazy that we're getting to see from the five-headed dragon in this chapter. I mean, it's the legendary five-headed dragon. They have a whole myth around it. I think we all kind of expected that it should have the power to at least destroy a mountain with just one blast. Now, one thing they're actually kind of sending out of this is that when we actually see the leaked images from the chapter, it looks like Ichika's using one of her black orbs to actually pull Ken Zokaku away from the dragon's attack. So I'm not sure if it's actually that she's avoiding the attack or if Ichika's saving her in this moment. Uno reverse card. After Lily's cynical remark, Ichika flashbacks that they have a master who sees everything. In the flashback, Ryu tells the Ryuzen 7 everything, that an enemy attack is imminent, war is about to break out, they're called Paladins, belong to Lucius, etc. This flashback happened yesterday, i.e. Ryu saw the future half a day ahead. He said, I'm feeling this to happen in the morning. He told them about the Paladin's magic types and also that the seal of the five-headed dragon will be broken. Okay, so now that's actually really interesting. We're getting to see exactly how much time has passed between the ending of chapter 343 when Ryu sensed that the Paladins were coming and the beginning of chapter 345 when they actually start to fight against them. Now the question is that the extent of Ryu's ability? Can he only see up to half a day into the future? Because up until now, I have been kind of thinking that maybe Ryu's eyesight ability and Lucius' future sight ability might have been on par with each other, but we haven't seen anything to confirm that he's at Lucius' level yet. And I'm hoping that we actually get to see more of his future sight ability in the coming chapters. In the flashback, one of the reasons says they need to defeat the enemy, but Ree replies first they need to save the citizens. Okay, so yeah, we already knew that they evacuated the town right next to where they're fighting, and now it actually makes sense how they were able to do that so quickly, because they had half a day ahead to prepare for them to show up. He can foresee that the five-headed dragon will cause a lot of destruction. He says the enemy is stronger than ever. Ryu asks if they think they can win. Inner monologue of the Ryuzen says they're gonna win. Yeah, so we're seeing that these 5 are extremely confident in their ability to win against the five-headed dragon and the paladins, and you're going to see why later on in this chapter. Kazukaku has snow yojutsu and her spell is white, silver fox, and blood dyed kimono. And man, if you've seen the image for her transformation, which by the way, we get to see her transformation from after she gets eaten by one of the dragons and bust out of its head by cutting up one of its eyes. And I think that's the end of that dragon. I don't think we actually get to see her fighting that dragon again for the rest of the chapter. But if you get to see her transformation, if you're an Eden Zero fan, think what is it, Homura. Think Homura's Overdrive mixed together with Vonica and Mario Leona, and that is exactly what you would get from this character. Like this guy right here says it best, Tabata definitely had this mindset when he was thinking of how to make this character even more lovable than she was in the last chapter. And that's not all. We get to see that each of the 5 members of Reason 7 have a different element and a different style of attack in this chapter to take out one of the 5 heads of the dragon. Daizamon has Earth Jutsu and his spell is Wisdom King Buddha's Priest. And basically what he ends up doing is just summoning a giant Buddha statue and just smashing down on one of the dragon's heads, just completely crushing it with that statue. So that's 2 of the 5 heads down, and on pages 14 and 15, we get to see Komari and Zaimon finish off 2 more heads. And we get to see that Komari has Lightning Yojutsu, and her spell is Thunderbolt, with the Buddhist symbol of indestructible truth for Thunderbolt. Yaksha Hime Five-Fold Dance. Yaksha is the name of a class of nature spirits, usually benevolent, who are caretakers of natural treasures hidden in the earth. And that's an interesting little tidbit. Maybe this might be a little hint from Tabata that maybe Komari might have like a lesser lightning spirit. I mean, I know there's only the 4 great spirits, but I've always been one who's been saying that there might be other spirits besides those 4 out there. So who knows? And Jozo has Wind no Jutsu, and his spell is Some Killing Blade. And they've never seen the kanji that's used for the attack, but they know that actually has to be some kind of reference just like the other ones were. And if you've seen the leaked images for these two attacks, then you know that while they're cool, they're probably the least impressive out of the 5 attacks that we get in this chapter. Although, I'm finding a hard time to say that about Komari, just because we don't really get a clear depiction of hers based on the leaked image we get, but we get to see Jozo's, and his attack is just kind of basic. And honestly, it's kind of cementing my idea that he's actually the Jack of this group, basically just a slicer and that's it. So that's now 4 heads down, which leaves 1 left, and honestly, we have Ichika as the best for last, taking off the dragon's head completely by cutting it in half with her Dark Jutsu. And that's pretty much where the chapter ends. We don't get to see anything from Asta, we don't get to really see much from Sister Lily or any of the Paladins, although we do get confirmation that he has ice magic. The other guy, who I completely forget his name, only has beast magic, and Sister Lily is the only one of the two who, or the three, who has 2 types of magic. Which is now making me question entirely what's going on with these paladins, because I assumed that each of the paladins we'd actually see them fighting against would be people who are infused with one of the higher ranking devils, which means they would get their original magic abilities and the devil's magic abilities on top of that, like how Sister Lily does. And I mean, that still could be the case, because when it comes down to Heath, we know that he had ice magic, and we know that either Lilith or Nama had ice magic. I forget which one had ice magic, but maybe Lucius decided to give whichever one had ice magic their soul to Heath, and then when it comes down to this other guy, maybe he originally did have beast magic, and there was a devil, a high ranking devil, who had beast magic as well, and he just kind of implanted their soul in them as well. And maybe that's how it's going to be with the paladins going forward. Maybe the original plan that Lucius had was to match a devil soul up with a human who had a similar type of magic in order to just basically make them extremely powerful. And when it came to Sister Lily, the reason why she has 2 types of magic is because she was kind of a paladin made on the spot that he originally wasn't planning on making. But who knows, we'll have to wait until we actually get to see more of the paladins in action and see if they all have only 1 ability, or they all end up having 2 abilities like Sister Lily. But anyway, that's it for the leaks for this week's chapter, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.